Your happy chemicals will not surge all the time, but you do not need to be having a peak experience at every moment. You can accept the inevitable dips in your happy chemicals instead of believing something is wrong. You don't have to mask the dips with unhealthy habits. You can just take them as evidence that your inner mammal is looking out for you in the best way it knows how. It's almost like those dips or those moments where we feel like we're coming down from a peak experience of happiness can be reframed as, okay, I'm not experiencing stress or unhappiness. This is just a lesser feeling of happiness. And I think that shift in language can be really strong, where if you can just be in the mindset of, okay, I'm just on this dial of happiness, and it can just like, I'm just going to stay on this dial of happiness, and it'll go up at times, it'll go down at times, rather than being in the mindset of like, okay, I'm happy, now I'm unhappy, and like you just like seesawing back and forth. And I think that's a really powerful reframe.
Yeah, and the idea that, oh, if I'm not happy all the time, something's wrong with me is absolutely not right. And if we couldn't have a peak experience every minute of every day. It's just not realistic. And it's hard to accept that because so many people are trying to sell, 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 sell. You can have joy, this is the joy you've always dreamed of. It's hard to resist all that hype, right? I use this simple example in my first book. Let's say you're the person who discovered a planet, and you're so excited in that moment that you discovered the planet. Part of the reason you're so excited is because maybe you worked your whole life, you deprived yourself of everything else, you slept on the floor of your office, and all that dopamine anticipation. And finally, is like, whoa, there it is. And also, you're anticipating this Nobel Prize. So let's say you finally get some kind of prize. So now you have the serotonin of like, I'm the guy who won a Nobel Prize. So you walk into a cocktail party like, oh, I'm the guy who won the Nobel Prize. But like, you're not going to feel that every minute of every day. It's going to go down. And you might even be at a party with like other people who won big prizes. So what are you going to do? So you're going to tell yourself, I have to discover another planet, because to your brain, that's the only way to feel good. It's the only way it knows. It knows suffering, feel good. And classic example, anyone who's done something big, when you read about their childhood, they had a really horrible childhood. And the only way they escaped that horror was to obsess over this thing that they finally did. So the minute they stop obsessing over that thing, they're going back to the horrible childhood memories. And it helps if we can be real about that. But most people don't understand that. So they just have to keep going after that, chasing that peak, whether it's an unhealthy thing like gambling or alcohol, or even if it's a healthy thing, but it's overwork, or let's say love addiction or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that one of the biggest reasons why joy and happiness feels so good is because we also have moments of pain and stress or potentially unhappiness, and it's just like creating that shift of like, oh wow, like this feels so good because there have been moments where I have felt so bad. And it's like, if you just get into the mindset also, like if you were at like peak happiness 100% of the time, then that like feeling would wear off on you, and like you just like would become immune, and like it's like, okay, like that's just like your base level, and like you're not actually feeling some type of better sensation anymore.
Yes. Yeah, and that's called habituation. But the big thing is, if something feels really good, it's because you worked for it, inevitably. And the classic example is maybe your grandparents' generation, where a bicycle was considered like the most expensive thing you could possibly get. And like a teenager would work for a year to save up for a bicycle, and it would be this ecstatic thing. Whereas today, like my 5-year-old grandchild gets a bicycle and refuses to use it. And then she wants a different color. And every year she gets another one because she grew an inch. So she's not having the experience of having had to work for something.